I want to talk about another situation that we see this popped up out of Virginia. So a regular segment that we have on this show is the bad popo segment, where we talk about bad police officers. That was kind of a fun name, something that pre 2020 protests that we would be kind of jokey about. We would say, okay, yeah, bad popo, and I would scold them and say bad popo, and it was fun and kind of jokey. Kind of decided not to continue to do that. I mean, the conversation is a very serious conversation, and certainly requires, I think, the type of focus and detail and sincerity that is due this type of conversation. So we're going to kind of hold off on that. But this guy is certainly a bad police officer, and he is on his way out. I want to tell you about the story, and then I want to break down some of potential solutions. So when we're talking about this, why did this cop, think about it this way, why did this cop ever even get on the force? How was he allowed to be on the force? Did anybody do any screening or anything? We're going to talk about maybe some fail-safes that we want to look at. But what happened here? How did he get on here? So this story comes from Virginia, the Virginia State Police. And what ended up happening is there is this officer, and his name is Jacob Gooch from the Virginia State Police. He resigned after he claimed in a text message to his brother, Mark, that he intentionally coughed on a driver he ticketed in hopes of spreading the coronavirus. So in one text message exchange, Jacob Gooch told Mark, which is his brother, and another brother that he gave a Mennonite man a ticket and coughed on him, quote, so he would spread corona to the wedding they were going to, LOL. So, this is an officer who is just kind of flagrantly, I mean, this is an assault type of charge. By most other states, by many jurisdictions, by many statutes, what that officer did, if you went and coughed on somebody with the intention of infecting them with a virus or bacteria or anything, that is an assault. That is physical particles leaving your body and entering somebody else to harm them. Now, the law draws, some pretty clear distinctions, and it can be a little bit trickier of analysis than that. But if this officer is intentionally trying to cause somebody, harm through their breath, through coughing on them, that's an assault. There is case law throughout the country that says if you, let's say for example, you did it this way. What if you were smoking a cigarette and you're at a bar and you're in an altercation with somebody and you took a big puff of that cigarette or that cigar and you just blew it right in somebody's face? Assault? Yeah, that's an assault. There's case law that supports that. There's an assault. It's an offensive touch. You intended to touch that person. You blew on them. You blew smoke in their face, and you intended to do that. So therefore, that's going to be assault. That's a criminal charge for something like that. It's absolutely reckless for an officer to be doing that. He knows they're going to a wedding, so he's going to cough on them. I don't know what a Mennonite man is. I don't know anything about any of that stuff. It doesn't matter because it's not important. If you're coughing on somebody, they're going to a wedding, and you're intending to infect them at a time when the entire country is on a quarantine, the entire world is on a quarantine. You're saying they're going to go to a very highly populated, densely populated wedding, and now we're going to try to infect that entire group of people. I mean, that's like mass assault. So it was a horrendous thing. But how did this guy even get on the force? And how did this interaction, this exchange start? Well, it started actually with this cop's brother. So Jacob Gooch, who was communicating with Mark Gooch, who is this individual right here. So Mark Gooch, which is his brother, was charged with murdering this woman here, Sasha Kraus. She was a Sunday school teacher who disappeared from a Mennonite community in New Mexico earlier this year. So this cop's brother allegedly murders this woman here, and he's text messaging his other brother who is infecting people who are going to Mennonite weddings with coronavirus on a grand scale and bragging about it in text messages to his two brothers. So the question is, putting this in context, we've talked about a lot today, but how are these people getting past the hiring process? How are they even getting onto the force? I mean, both these people here are brothers. Presumably they've got certain things in common, certain upbringings in common. They're both facing certain criminalities. One has an assault. One is under investigation for murder. They both seem to have an issue with a certain community, the Mennonites. Mark Gooch allegedly murdered somebody from that community. The other guy allegedly assaulted somebody, or admits to assaulting somebody with his cough in the middle of a traffic stop. And they both, Jacob gets on the force. Mark Gooch doesn't. But how did he do that? How did he get on there?